afternoon, everybody. It's me, Jessica, your health fitness program manager from McLean, and I'm here today to guide you through an awesome lower body focused mind-body connection. So this week's mind-body connection classes are really going to focus a lot on the lower body. Tomorrow's yin class is going to come back to the legs and the feet. We'll practice a little bit of getting some stretches between the toes even today for a totally mat-based class. No standing, no down dogs, no extreme challenges, just a big focus on breath and relaxation and just finding some length because it's also the week of the trick-or-trot. So if you are challenging yourself to a 5K or any part of that distance, maybe even further, please make sure that you incorporate some stretches in your training or after the event. This is a great class for you. We're going to start in 2 minutes at 12:15, and we'll start today in child's pose. If you're here early, feel free to hang out in Sukhasana in any easy posture of your choice, or lay down in Savasana. And I'll see you guys at the back of our mats in just about 2 minutes. Yes, Fred, I will bribe you with nuts. Okay? Promise to bribe you with nuts. Just like every day.
Just like every day, okay?
How come you don't bribe me to work out? Can't you at least like give out some warm fuzzies? Don't be scared. Do. Dogally. It's 12:15. Oh. What my? Got my little cheater's book. There's no such thing as cheating. It's just yoga, and there is no shame in referencing some other materials just to help you get your flow on, if that's your jam. Okay, we're getting started today. Coming towards the back of our mats. Go ahead, open your knees nice and wide if that feels good for you. If you want a little bit more stimulation on your belly, you can always keep those knees together. Start to relax yourself down on the mat and come into the extended child's pose of your choice. You might want to extend your arms all the way out in front of you, or you might want to keep your arms close by your side, a little bit more like an embryo as opposed to child's pose. Maybe even crossing your arms in front of you. If you're feeling really tight, even coming into a little less of stretching your hips back towards your heels, which can apply some pressure on your ankles, as I now definitely notice. So take your time, just find what feels good. Find a place where you can come into some stillness and into your breath, and we'll start our practice from here. it feels good. Now that you've taken a couple of breaths, you've started to just notice how your body is feeling today. Maybe you want to start using your exhale to send your hips a little closer towards your heels. Maybe you even want to just shake your tail a little bit left and right. Start to bring a couple stretches onto the sides of your body. Only you know how your body feels. Maybe you know some extra little moves that might feel good for you. And if you do, feel free to take them. Remember, you can always come back to child's pose or come back to just an easy pose in your breath. If anything that we're doing in class seems too challenging, or if you find that your mind is having trouble relaxing, if your thoughts are going 10,000 a minute, come back to child's pose, come back to just being in a nice seated position and work to slow down your breath, returning to the focus of class today, which truly is breath first, postures or asanas second. Taking this time to really just clear your mind. All right, let's go ahead and walk those hands forward. We're going to come into Sphinx pose, so just bringing that pubic mound down towards the floor. You can walk your elbows out a little bit further. Keep those elbows pressed into the floor. Keep that pubic mound down. Find a little bit of a tucking of your chin towards your chest, but work to squeeze your shoulder blades towards each other so you feel that nice stretch being created in your low back. And then I want you to take the tension out of your glutes. So if you found that you were squeezing those butt cheeks together like you were holding onto a pencil or money, I want you to just relax it out. Maybe even shaking them out right here and come back to the pressing of your elbows into the floor, finding even a little bit of pressure, maybe even through your hands, palms, your fingertips, just truly grounding as much as possible. Bring that tuck back towards your chin to feel a stretch on the top of your shoulders. All right, you can stay right here in Sphinx pose. If you want a little bit more of a stretch on that low back, we're gonna replace our elbows with our hands palms. You might wanna even walk your hands out a little bit wider and press yourself up. Keep that pubic mound down on the ground and keep squeezing those shoulder blades together as if they're creating a V shape on your back. This time you can lift your eyes, nose, chin up towards the ceiling. Keep squeezing those shoulder blades together and down. Feel that back activate for 2 more slow breaths. And on your exhale, gently relax and release yourself back down to the floor. Make that diamond shape or pillow with your hands. Go ahead, bend your knees and simply windshield wipe your feet right and left, right and left. In case you're wondering, Jessica, why are you wearing one sock? I'm wearing one sock because I fell last week and I hurt myself. I sprained my ankle pretty badly, and I'm just trying to take it easy, but I know that there's so much benefit in continuing to move and to make sure that my blood is flowing, because getting blood circulating is gonna help to clear up that tension and discomfort in my feet. All right, let's start with a spinal twist while we're down here on our belly. So extend your arms out into a T. Go ahead, bend your left leg. You can draw that left hand closer in towards your chest as you roll over onto your right side and just touch that left foot down towards the floor. Depending on if you want to enjoy more of a shoulder stretch, you can roll even more onto that right arm, even extending your left arm behind you and feel a big stretch in your right shoulder, maybe even in your pec, However, if that doesn't feel comfortable and you want to keep the stretch on your spine, keep the right temple on the floor and walk your left hand fingertips away, working to get that left armpit back down towards the mat. Take the tension out of your glutes the best that you can. Relax into the stretch, drawing your shoulders a little away from your ears. And change. Gently roll back onto your belly, extending both legs in front of / behind you. Go ahead, draw your right hand in towards your chest, bend your right leg, and roll over onto the left side of your body. So again, you have the option right here to come into more of a shoulder stretch on that left shoulder by rolling even more onto your left side. Or come into that spine stretch by walking your right hand fingertips away even more and working to bring that right armpit to the floor. Scan your body from head to toe, just looking for any place that you might feel some incredible tension. I know I'm feeling a lot of tension, A, in my ankle, because it hurts, and B, in my mid-back. So I'm really working to inhale in, just some awareness of the stretch, and exhale, finding a little bit more length between those vertebrae. Last big breath. Awesome. Roll back over onto your belly. Feels so good. Go ahead, bring your hands, palms under your chest. We're going to press ourselves up into tabletop. Walk your hands underneath of your shoulders, maybe even a little bit wider than shoulders if you need to, and getting your knees underneath of your hips. Let's take a couple moments and breaths in cat-cow. You can be really passive in your cat-cow right here. We can find a little extra stimulation if it feels good by tucking those toes under. I'm going to choose not to tuck my toes under today because that brings a little extra stretch that I'm not enjoying on my ankle. But that's just an option if you've been doing a lot of running or walking and your ankles are feeling really tight. Take your time, move at your own pace right now through these cat-cows, working to get as much articulation of your spine as possible. I really want you to think as you come into cat about that mid-back stretching up towards the ceiling, maybe even bringing your heels a little closer towards your hips to find an extra stretch in that low back. If you're feeling some discomfort in your shoulders, think about even coming into cat and bringing the weight forward a little bit, which also brings a really big stretch onto the back of your hands. All right, feel free to shake that tail however feels good for you. And then let's take a moment and sit back onto our heels. We're just gonna lift ourselves up, make some circles with your wrists in one direction, make some circles with your wrists in the other direction. Go ahead and extend your right hand out in front of you, palm facing forward. Use your fingers of your left hand to draw your right fingertips back. Make sure you're still relaxing those shoulders down away from your ears. Do you have an extra arch in your back? If so, find that tuck of your pelvis. Draw your belly in and change other hand. If this is a lot on your knees, you can always come up into kneeling right here instead of sitting back. Let's switch back to the original hand. We're going to point those fingers down towards the floor. Squeeze those shoulder blades together again. Take your rounding out of your back. Other hand. This is such a great little wrist move to do if you've been sitting at your computer typing for a long time. Got one more variation we're going to do here. So fingers pointing down towards the floor, palms facing out. Still squeeze those shoulder blades together, knit your rib cage together, draw your belly in, and switch. forget about that upper body. Even while we've been running, upper body still gets so worked using those arms, getting those abs involved. All right, so come on back into tabletop. We're just gonna continue to work to find some stretches for those wrists. So I want you to turn your hands palms over, fingers facing towards your knees. The more that you have your chest on top of your hands, the less pressure you're gonna feel. Exhale, start to bring your hips closer towards your heels. Inhale, come back up towards the tabletop. Exhale, hips to heels. Inhale to tabletop. 2 more times. Exhale, hips to heels. You don't have to go back super far. Inhale to tabletop. Last one. I think I did 3 more times because counting is hard. Awesome. Turn your hands back over. Maybe shake it out. Give yourself a couple circles again. This time turning your fingers towards each other. We're just going to shift a little bit to the right. You can even think about bringing your left hip towards your left shoulder and then shift to the left, right hip to right shoulder. So not just getting that stretch in our wrist, but also a little bit more through our obliques. If you came to HIIT class yesterday, you might be feeling it a little bit in those abs. Let's do 1 more time each side. Awesome. Then just go ahead, bring your knees together, shift your hips over. We're going to come to a seated position, any seated position of your choice. And we're going to take some forward folds here. I'm going to go for a nice wide leg stretch. So depending on the seated position that you're in, obviously you chose something that felt good for you. You might be getting a slightly different stretch. With these legs out nice and wide, I start to feel a stretch on the back of my legs, as opposed to having everything in tight, which I feel a little bit more of a stretch right now because it hurts in my ankle, but also towards the hips. So just find what works for you today, coming into your personal favorite seated stretch. And then I want you to lengthen your spine. Draw that belly in, finding some support through your core. Relax and release those shoulders down and back. So shoulder blades kissing towards each other. Find that neutral chin towards your chest. Find some length through the crown of your head. Remember, you can always close your eyes and really be in the moment in your practice. We're going to walk ourselves forward gently. With this lift still, walking yourself forward. First, starting off with this nice big lift, shoulder blades still squeezed, chest is open. If your legs are out wide, you can even flex your toes towards your face to continue the stretch on the back of the legs. And on your next exhale, I want you to just release yourself down. As you come a little bit further forward, depending on how tight your body's feeling today, maybe you barely moved. Maybe your arms are still really straight. Maybe you can relax those elbows towards the floor. And once you get there, once you come into the deepest stretch that feels good for you today, so we're still in something that feels good. Maybe the stretch is noticeable, might be a little uncomfortable, but it's still tolerable. So remember, depending on the seated position that you took is how you're gonna feel today's stretch, and then you're just working to relax your shoulders. Maybe your head comes down towards the floor. Use these next couple of breaths to just sink as deep as feels appropriate for you today. And make sure your breaths are still really long and slow. You're breathing all the way down to the bottom of your diaphragm. You're still drawing your shoulders away from your ears so you didn't find that big draw up of shoulders to ears, which can increase tension. We're staying relaxed. And change. Gently walk yourself back up. All right, feel free to bring those hands behind you. We're gonna draw our knees up for just a second. Windshield wipe those feet in opposite directions. Let's take a moment. We'll open up our hips from this nice seated position, and then we'll do a couple more forward folds. Get a little into our backs and the back of our legs again. I'm gonna turn sideways a little so you can see what I'm doing? All right, so if you would like to do this figure 4 stretch as a reclined pigeon, you're more than welcome to. I'm going to suggest a little upright today so we can keep those backs a little bit more active, engaging those shoulder blades. You can walk your hands back to help you cross one leg over the other. Your choice which leg you'd like to cross first. Whichever leg you did cross, though, that floating knee, I want you to stretch it towards the end of the mat and then walk yourself up to feel more of a stretch on the outside of that thigh. If you don't feel enough of a stretch here, remember you can always lay yourself down on your back and do this same stretch reclined, still stretching your opposite knee away from you. I think it feels good to try something a little bit different. This way I get to activate my chest, and I find it a little bit easier to really focus on stretching that bent knee towards the end of the mat. Awesome, walk your hands back. Let's release whichever leg you lifted onto the floor. Take a moment, pass through the windshield wipe, and let's go ahead and get the opposite side. So glue the sole of your foot down to the floor, lift your opposite leg up and over. You might need to walk your hands back even more, depending on how tight you're feeling, and then lifting that chest, bringing your belly towards your thigh, but still not bringing that knee in towards your shoulder, stretching your knee towards the end of the mat. Make sure that there's some room that you can make some little wiggles of your ankle on the opposite side, that you're not just pressing your ankle bone against your thigh. Big stretch through the glute all the way down towards the knee. Just hang out right here. Find that neutral chin to chest. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. Open your chest. Activate your back for 3, 2, 1. Great. Go ahead. Uncross your legs. Windshield wipe those knees again. Let's come back into a seated posture. Seated position. If you can come into easy pose for this next one, great. Just some sort of cross-legged position. Now that your hips are hopefully a little bit more open, this should feel a little bit more comfortable. Don't feel like you have to come into as deep of a cross as I did. You're just doing what feels right for your body today. And remember, every day is different. Every day our bodies is different. It's all about how did you sleep? How have you been standing? Have you been sitting in a chair? Have you been sitting in a chair in a weird way? So just honoring what your body can bring and being proud of yourself. All right, let's take a moment right here, just grounding, coming back to our breath. If you need a little bit of extra help with grounding, place your hands palms down on your thighs. If not, you can always turn your wrist over and work to squeeze those shoulder blades together. Pull your belly in tight. I'm even going to come into a mudra here with my hands. Jnana mudra, so I'm bringing my thumb and my pointer finger together, and I'm doing my best to keep the other 3 fingers straight. Try to take that extra rounding out of your back, so re-knit that rib cage together right here. 1 minute to just focus on our breath. Start to notice what's happening with your shoulders, with your chest, with your back. How's everything feel right now? Let's go ahead and do a couple gentle little neck stretches. So take a deep inhale, squeeze shoulder blades together, open up your chest, draw your belly back in, find length through the crown of your head, and on your exhale, drop your right ear to your right shoulder. Take a deep inhale, On your exhale, go ahead, bring your chin towards your chest. Can you still work to squeeze those shoulder blades together, to knit that rib cage together, to pull your belly nice and tight? So as if there's a rod coming up through your spine, sending up towards the ceiling, so your chest stays lifted. Take a deep inhale, and on your exhale, drop your ear to the opposite shoulder. Now I encourage you to take the time. Let's keep the motion in the frontal plane though, moving at a pace that works best for you, bringing your ear towards the opposite shoulder. If you notice any points that feel particularly tense, feel free to hang out for a couple extra seconds with your breath in those spots. Maybe even bringing a fingertip up towards your neck. If you need an even deeper stretch, you can even drape your fingers by your ear. Allow your elbow to hang heavy. If you're focusing on just one side at a time, I'll make sure to let you know when we're about halfway through, so you can find that even Steven range of motion on the other side. Now's that time. Halfway through, if you've been holding on one side, take the opportunity to switch to the other. Experiment with where you're tucking your chin towards your chest, even having your ear towards your shoulder, a tuck of the chin towards the chest, a tuck of the ear towards the shoulder, looking up towards the ceiling, all the different ways that we can find stretches within our neck. All right, now that we're a little bit more warmed up, if you'd like to take a couple rotations all the way around, taking your time carefully, dropping your head back. Still making sure that your rib cage is knit so that your core is contracted and upright. One more time around in this direction. As your chin comes to the chest, reset. And let's do 3 circles, nice and slow, in the opposite direction. All the way around. Or just honoring what feels good for you. Maybe instead of dropping your head back, you're stretching your eyes, nose, chin up towards the ceiling. Even if your range of motion is very small, using your eyes to just set that intention. Awesome. Next time your chin comes towards your chest, take a moment right here in your breath. And on your next inhale, lift yourself back up. Great. Go ahead, bring your fingers to your shoulders. We'll get some nice big shoulder stretches. So inhale, stretch elbows forward. Find some rounding of that back, similar to cat. Rib cage comes closer towards the hips. Exhale, stretch elbows up. Belly tight. Inhale, elbows go back. And exhale, down. Elbows towards thighs. Inhale forward. Just make sure you're breathing nice and slow. Up, changing your breath with each movement. Back and down. 2 more times around, nice and slow. Stretch it forward. Separating those shoulder blades up. Now squeezing them towards each other and down. Awesome. Let's change the direction. So this time, inhale back, up, forward, down. 4 more times. Back, nice and slow, up, forward, down. 2 more. Back, up, forward, down. Last one. Back, up, forward, down. Beautiful. Release those fingertips down towards the floor. Find that length through the crown of your head. We're going to find some big overhead reaches this time. So palms facing forward, lead with your thumbs. Inhale, arms go up overhead. Exhale, relax them down by your side. 2 more. Inhale, arms up overhead. Maybe even bringing them back a little bit. Exhale, down. Last time, up and down. Inhale up. Pull that belly in tight. Exhale down. One more time. Inhale those arms up overhead. Palms face towards each other, thumbs towards the back of the room. I want you to relax those shoulders away from your ears. Find some length and space through your vertebrae. Keep stretching your right hand fingertips up towards the ceiling. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, relax your left hand fingertips down towards the floor. Big reach up. Inhale, both hands come up towards the ceiling. Shoulders are released from ears. Exhale, right hand fingertips come down towards the floor. Inhale up. Feel free to go a little deeper if it feels good. So exhale, maybe even bending your elbow. Forearms comes to the ground. Inhale up. Exhale down. Move at your own pace right here. Inhale up. Exhale down. Just making sure you find time to do one more on each side. Inhale up. Exhale down. We're going to bring those fingers up towards the ceiling one more time. And this time we're going to find our twist. So as your left hand fingers draw behind you, right hand fingers come forward. Inhale back up through center. Shoulders released from ears. Exhale, opposite hand forward, opposite hand back. Inhale up. Nice and slow, belly tight. Exhale back. Slow 4 count. Inhale up. 2, 3, 4. Exhale back. Keep drawing those shoulders from your ears. Inhale up. 2, 3, 4. Exhale back. One more time to the opposite side. Inhale. Exhale. This time we're going to hold our twist to the side. So bring your fingertips down towards the floor, close to your spine. Opposite fingers can reach towards your thigh. Once again, roll those shoulders down and back. Pull your belly in. Find that twist, maybe a bend of your back elbow. Focus on creating the twist through your obliques, not just of turning your head towards the back of the room. So really drawing one shoulder forward and the opposite shoulder back. And change. Inhale, both arms up towards the ceiling. Find that lifted length and exhale to the opposite side. Once again, backhand fingertips close by the base of your spine. Chest is puffed up like a superhero. Shoulder blade squeeze. A gentle bend of that back elbow can help you draw one shoulder forward, one shoulder back. A couple nice deep breaths right here. One more deep inhale. And exhale, release forward. We're going to kick our legs out in front of us. Ooh. Go ahead, bob those knees up and down, windshield wipe your feet. We'll take one more big stretch forward, and then we'll come into a couple rounds of Sun Salutation A, which we've done together before if you've been attending. So go ahead, kick that left leg out a little bit cornerwise to about a 45-degree angle. We're gonna go ahead and fold that right leg in. Readjust your sit bones underneath of you. I like to actually reach back and move my bum from behind underneath of me. All right, inhale those arms up overhead. And we're gonna turn towards our left leg. Go ahead, bring your hands, palms together. Keeping that chest lifted, I want you to take a deep inhale and hinge forward as much as you can with this nice, active, lifted back. Take one more deep inhale and exhale. Find some rounding. You can reach towards that foot. So that first stretch, you might have felt a little bit more with that active back on your leg, whereas the second stretch, we're exhaling, coming forward. You feel the stretch a little bit more on your back. Go ahead, keep your left hand fingertips reaching towards your left leg. You can bend that elbow, send your right arm up towards the ceiling for a little bit of a twist right here. One more deep inhale. Exhale, bring your two hands back together. Inhale, lift yourself up. Inhale, arms up overhead. Just get a little challenge for your abs as we switch those legs out. Ooh. So this time I have my right leg going out to a 45-degree angle, my left leg folded in. Gonna bring my hands back together right at heart's level. Take a deep inhale, lift your chest, keep that flat back, and exhale, hinge forward as much as you can with that flat back. Take a couple moments right here. Feel that big stretch on the back of the leg. Take one more deep inhale. And exhale, this time feel free to find some rounding of that lower back. Head can come down towards the knee. Keep your right hand on your right foot. Feel free to bend that elbow. Inhale, left arm up towards the ceiling. Rotate your chest, squeezing shoulder blades together still. One more big inhale. Exhale, come back towards your foot, turning that chest. Inhale, lift yourself up. Arms are gonna come back up overhead. Go ahead, kick both legs out corner-wise. Once again, reach those hands forward, flex your toes back to the face. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, hinge forward as much as you can with that back active and lifted. Big stretch on the legs. One more deep inhale. Exhale, this time feel free to round forward just a bit. Nice work. Go ahead and walk those hands back in gently. Fold your legs up and over to the side. Take your time. We're going to come up onto our knees. Now that we're feeling a little bit more warmed up, we can come into Sun Salutation A. So we're going to start off kneeling right here. And we're going to move with our breath. So with our hands, palms at the center of our chest, we're going to inhale and come up onto our knees. Stretch those fingertips up overhead. Option during this kneeling arch, as you're inhaling, to even lift that chest, a mini back bend, but make sure it's in your upper back. Then exhale, hinge forward, belly comes towards thighs, fingers come towards the floor for some child's pose. Inhale, bring those hands, palms underneath of your shoulders. Press into those palms, come into cat. Exhale, we're going to tuck our toes under, send our hips up towards the ceiling. Just for a moment in down dog, you can have your knees bent, belly towards your thighs. Inhale, come back to cat. Exhale, send hips back towards heels, back into your child's pose. From here, bring hands, palms together. Inhale, back up onto your knees. Squeeze glutes. Hips come forward. Lift your chest. Eyes, nose, chin up towards the ceiling. Whoa. And then exhale, sit yourself back down into kneeling. Let's go through that a couple more times. All right, starting with your hands, palms at your chest. Go ahead, ground those knees into the floor. Pull your belly in. We're going to inhale up to kneeling. Squeeze glutes. Hips come forward. Exhale, rain those fingers down. Come on into your child's pose or a modified melting heart's pose with your hips on top of knees. Inhale into cat. Chin tucks to chest. Look at knees. Exhale, tuck toes. Send your hips up. Belly to thighs for down dog. Inhale, take your time. Knees come back to mat. Back to cat. Exhale, walk hands forward. Find your child's pose. Inhale, belly tight, lift up. Squeeze glutes, hips forward. Exhale, back to kneeling. Again, inhale up. Squeeze glutes, hips forward. Exhale, child's pose. Think about using that 4-second count. Inhale, cat. 2, 3, 4, exhale, down dog. 2, 3, 4. Inhale, cat. 2, 3, 4. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, kneeling arch. Find that back bend if it feels good. Exhale, kneeling. Again, inhale, kneeling. find that slow intention. Exhale, child's pose. Or melting heart. Inhale, cat-cow. Press into those hands, palms. Find that arch, tuck your toes. Down dog. Inhale, kneeling. Exhale, child's pose. You know I meant kneeling, cat-cow. Inhale, upright. Squeeze glutes. Find that back bend. Exhale, sit your hips to your heels. Let's do it twice more. Inhale, lift. Squeeze glutes. Hips forward. Find that arch. Belly tight. Exhale, rain those fingers down. Come into your extended child's pose. Inhale, lift up. Draw those hands in. Press into them. Find that stretch in your back. Exhale, tuck your toes. Hips to the ceiling, belly to knees. Inhale, knees back to the mat. Bring that weight forward, chin to chest. Exhale, walk hands forward, hips to heels. Child's pose. Inhale, press into your knees, tops of feet into the floor. Stay grounded. Lift up. Exhale, sit. Hands to heart. Last time through. Inhale, up. Exhale, forward. Inhale, cat. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, cat. Exhale, child's pose. Inhale, kneeling, lift. Exhale, back to our knees. Let's just take a moment grounding right here. We're gonna do one more back bend, back opener, followed by one more rounding forward. You always wanna mix up those back bends with the forward folds. So next up, we're just gonna go for a quick little heart opener, camel's pose. Heart openers, if you're new to yoga, you might be surprised by truly how many emotions come to you as you take this time to really open your chest. So if you do start to feel a little overwhelmed, if you find that you are losing control of your breath, just take a moment, come sit back down to kneeling, ground yourself, and then we'll meet you for our next back strengthener. All right, so come on up to kneeling. I want you to open your knees about hips width distance apart and keep your feet a little like a teepee, so toes slightly tented towards each other. We're gonna take our hands to our low back. I like to say like you're slipping your fingers into your delightful 80s mom jeans, which are popular again, I don't know why. But you're thinking about having your lower hands just below your lowest rib, your most tender part of your back. You're gonna keep your glutes and your hips stacked right on top of your knees. So I don't want you to come into a back bend and lean back from the knees. You're gonna work just like we talked about before. To squeeze your glutes, hips come forward. You could bounce a quarter off my butt. It's so tight right now. My belly is pressed forward, and we're gonna find the arch right here in our upper back. So hands on your lower back for support. Take a deep inhale, lift your eyes, nose, chin up towards the ceiling, and squeeze your shoulder blades together. And this might be all that you can do today, but if you're able to keep your hips stacked on top of your knees and find some rounding in that upper back, start to look back for the wall behind you. If you can see the wall behind you, if you can see the floor, you're welcome to reach down and grab hold of your heels. You're gonna stay nice and lifted right here for 3. Squeeze those shoulders together. 2, 1. Lift yourself back up slowly. Keep your hands on your lower back. Take a moment, sit your hips onto your heels. We're going to find a nice rabbit stretch. So reach back toward your heels. You might not be able to reach them quite in the beginning, but you should be able to get a better grip as you tuck your chin towards your chest. Now my fingers are touching on my heels. You're going to keep that chin tucked towards your chest. Keep your fingers on your heels. Roll yourself down. Your goal is to get your forehead towards your knees. Go ahead, squeeze those heels together and lift your hips up. So there's very little weight or pressure on the top of your head. It's all in your hands, holding on to your feet.
as tight as possible, and then pressing the knees, the tops of the feet into the floor. You lift those hips up, your throat is choked, your eyes are open, keep your mouth closed for 3, 2, 1. Slowly, gently lift yourself up.
Relax those shoulders down away from your ears. Let's shift onto our hips once more and kick our legs out in front of us. We'll take one more upright spine twist, and then we'll lay down on our backs for a nice little savasana. So go ahead, keep your right leg in front of you, lift that left leg up and over, and just find a place to ground your foot on the floor. We're gonna bring our left hand fingertips behind us. So really press into the floor, find that squeeze of the shoulders, the lift of your chest. Inhale your right arm up towards the ceiling, and exhale those right hand fingertips down towards the floor. Once again, really focus on finding the rotation of one shoulder forward and one shoulder back, and not just turning your chin towards your shoulder. But once you've found that lift through the crown of your head, that tightness in your belly, then you can bring your chin to the opposite shoulder to finish out your stretch and change. Slowly take your time untwisting. Let's switch our legs. So this time crossing the right leg over the left. Once again, find that length. So make sure you don't come into your twist like all crunchy. As much length through the spinal vertebrae as you can. Fingertips close by the base of your spine. Inhale that left arm up towards the ceiling, still working on that length, belly tight. And exhale, left hand fingertips in the direction of the floor. I'm pressing the outside of my forearm against my thigh to help me draw one shoulder forward, one shoulder back, squeezing shoulder blades together, knitting rib cage together. And once I found that length, I can start to turn the chin towards my opposite shoulder. Find a spot to relax your eyes. And on your exhale, release. All right, with straight legs or bent knees, I want you to slowly take your time, one vertebrae at a time. Lower yourself down to the mat. Just a teeny little bit of ab work here at the very end. Nice and in control. As you get here, feel free to open your legs as wide as you want, open your arms as wide as you want. Remember, if you're noticing any tension on that lower back, that bending your knees, tenting your feet can help you to ground that back a little bit more on the floor. That feels delightful right now. So I'm going to hang out right here. We've got, it's 1, but let's spend 1 more minute together right here in this final savasana together. If you have more than 1 minute where you can be down here on the floor, I encourage you to stay here for as long as you can. So important to take this time when your practice ends to come back to that same beautiful slow breath that we enjoyed when we started our practice. To give your body the opportunity to let the yoga flow everywhere. To just sink in. I just want to thank you so much for coming to class today, for making this time for yourself. That's all the time that we have together. Again, you're welcome to stay in the savasana for as long as you feel good, as long as it takes to relax, to bring your heart rate back to normal, to slow your breath down. If you'd like to close out practice together, take your time, roll over onto your side. Feel free to close your eyes, move slowly with intention back to a seated position of your choice. And from here, we'll bring our hands, palms back to the center of our chest with our thumbs touching on the sternum. Take a moment, tuck your chin, bow to yourself as you honor yourself for making this time and space for your mental and physical practice. If you have any questions or concerns about anything we did today, please comment below. As always, I encourage you to think good thoughts, to speak good words, to do good deeds and eat good foods, to nourish yourself from the inside and out. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.